Okay, welcome back to episode 3 of Drinking in Quarantine. We got a lot to get to today, so I'm just gonna cut right to the chase. I'm about 2 glasses of wine into this already, and I've had a shot of limoncello, so this is probably gonna be pretty fun. So what are we gonna get to? There's a couple topics, and I'm gonna answer one question from my little baby sis because she's the best. And so I will answer that question about movies. We're going to talk a little bit about the Final Fantasy remake, Final Fantasy 7 that is, and the big topic, we're going to talk about dating today and why it sucks and some personal stories which I think you might find entertaining. So let's get to it. First, we're going to have a shot because you have to start off with a good shot, even if you already, are like 2 or 3 drinks deep. I mean, this is what we're here for. This is why we're doing this. Oh, that shit's good. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, I took some notes here. We're going to try to follow them as best we can. But I like to do this off the cuff. Like, I don't like to go back and redo this shit because, frankly, nobody wants to see that doctored crap. Like, it's boring. It's stupid. This is just real me. Like, I hope I don't stand up because I'm not actually wearing pants. So the first question is from my little baby sis. Hey Maggie, how you doing? What are 3 of your all-time favorite movies? And name 1 movie that's pure garbage. Okay, well the last one is real simple, and we're going to cover that maybe in a little more detail than we should. I don't know that these are actually my all-time favorites, but these are up there, and these are the first 3 that came to mind because I think they're timeless in their own kind of way. Number 1 is The Princess Bride. It is not necessarily the most well-produced movie, but it's a story that I think everybody has seen, everybody kind of likes on some level. It's got some great quotes that everybody will bust out now and then. And I think it's timeless, even though Fred Savage is like 3 years old in the movie and he still kind of looks like he's 3 years old. The second one is maybe a movie you heard of, maybe not. It's called K-Pax. Now, despite what kind of little people Kevin Spacey touches in his spare time, he is an amazing actor, and this was probably his best movie that I've ever seen him in. K-Pax. It's about potentially an alien from the planet K-Pax is taking over somebody's body. And you're left for the whole movie trying to guess whether or not this guy is actually telling the truth when he says he's actually from planet K-Pax. It sounds ridiculous, but the way it goes down is very, 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 very believable. And if you haven't seen it, I really suggest you watch it because it's awesome. But don't be like Kevin Spacey, don't touch little kids. The third one is probably the only Jim Carrey movie that I think should ever have touched the big screen, and that is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Very, very few movies that I watch get into my head and have me thinking about them as I'm going to sleep, dream about them, and then wake up thinking about what I dreamed about and how it related to the movie. But this was one of those movies. I mean, like, can anybody think of anything else but this movie when they hear of the town of Montauk? No. And we all wish that we could actually go in and erase somebody from our mind. How awesome would that be? And man, when we get to the dating part of this, we're gonna love that. Like, just think about that and think about this movie, and if we could actually do that, how great that would be. So that is my movie. The bad one. I can honestly say this without hesitation, without reservation, that the all-time worst movie, pure garbage, that I can remember in my lifetime is, without a doubt, The Last Jedi. That movie is so bad. It's so bad. Like, how did you get from the end of episode 7 to that, and actually, like you actually produced this, like you actually put your, Ryan Johnson, you put your name on this. Why did you put your name on this? If I were you, I would probably think about suicide right now. It is so bad. It is the worst movie I have ever seen. You can't take the foreshadowing that happened in 7 and implement it into your own movie. No, you had to fucking destroy the entire thing that they set up for you, flush it down the toilet, and then you basically had to make J.J. Abrams go back and rewrite all of the entire fucking Star Wars history just so that he could fix your goddamn fuck up of this movie. It is so bad. You should kill yourself. Ryan Johnson, please do that. And that's my pure garbage movie. Okay, next. Let's talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake, why don't we? After a word from our sponsor of Limoncello. This is probably the last shot I'm gonna do because like you guys enjoy this like 5, 10, 15 minutes of me getting drunk, but I have to put up with this all night, and so this this is terrible. Final Fantasy VII Remake. First impressions, it's a little bit drawn out. Like when I paused today and I put it down for a little bit, I logged about 11 hours of the game already, and I am only at the part where I just kicked Reno's ass in the church, and we're headed through the Sector 5 slums of Midgar. For those of you that don't know the original game, I don't even know why I'm talking to you, but also, like that happens like an hour into the game. Like you could probably get to that in one sitting. I couldn't do this in one sitting on this game. It's so drawn out. But the graphics are really, really awesome. The story is it goes in a little bit more detail than the original game, and I like that. Maybe a little bit too much, but I'm gonna let it slide because I think when we get later on in the game, those details are really, really, really gonna be important. At least for a fanatic like me. I mean, we're talking about the best game of all time here. So I mean, let's cut it a little bit of slack. Some other impressions. Yes, Barrett. He is in fact Mr. T. He absolutely is Mr. T. And this game, this remake, proves it. The other thing that's really awesome in the dialogue is like, when you're first playing the original Final Fantasy VII, like they're cursing in your head and like, you know, they're saying like, oh shit, you little asshole, all that stuff. Like, but they actually say it in here, and like that's really good. I'm just waiting for the first F-bomb to come. Like it's gonna happen, and I can really feel it. And I think the thing that's bothering me so far is like I've just gotten here 11 hours in the game. I've just gotten here. I had the first version of this I'd ever played was the PC version, and the PC version, the best character in all of video game history has always been named Eris to me with an S, but I don't think that was actually her original name in the original game. I think it was on PlayStation. Her name was Aerith. And I'm not going to say Aerith with a lisp because that's just stupid. She's always been Aerith to me, and I want to go in and change her name, but I don't know if I can do that. And that's my initial take on Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's pretty badass. It was definitely worth buying the PlayStation just to play this. Like I am really, really excited, and I'm super stoked about this. Oh shit. Okay, so now let's get to the topic du jour. Dating in today's world. In a nutshell, dating in today's world is absolutely the worst thing that you could do to yourself. I've been doing this for probably about 3 years now. I've had some good relationships in the past. Some that just didn't work out. I had gotten married, like that didn't work out. but I had a long-term relationship. That great person. We just weren't really like compatible. But today's dating scene is it's fucking garbage. Like, let's talk a little bit about some of the trends that are happening today in the dating scene. Like, when I first started getting back out there, the hot new thing was like the swiping. Like, everybody wants to swipe. I don't really know why. Like, I think there's some part of your brain that is triggered, kind of like the gambling complex. It's almost like gambling. It's like, wow, she's hot. Let me just swipe and see if I match. Oh shit, we matched. Oh my god, it's so wonderful. Like, it's made in heaven. It's going to just happen. Everything's gonna be wonderful. And like, it's not like that at all. So, I mean, the days of like just profiles and reading through like mounds and mounds of profiles was terrible, but I don't really think that swiping's any better. Speaking of profiles, I'm gonna pick one thing from male profiles and one thing from female profiles. The male profiles I get from pretty much every female friend I have, and it's definitely worth talking about. So we're gonna talk about it. But the female thing is kind of. I get where you're coming from when you say the phrase, "We're not looking for a hookup." Okay, Karen, sure. You're not looking. Why are you dressed like a whore, Karen? Why are you dressed? You basically have your tits hanging out, and you want me to believe you're just not looking for a hookup. Okay. I'm not either, but that's not what I get when I see your profile. So let's at least be honest. Let's at least be honest. That's all I'm down for. Let's at least be honest. I'm actually gonna go with this. Like, not looking for a hookup, I think, is the default. Like, that should be the default setting. You should actually say whether you are looking for just a little hookup, and if you don't have that, we're just going to assume that that's not what you're looking for, because I think any decent person would not be out there just looking for that, and not say that right up front. So that's my quirk with female profiles, and the fact that like as a man, like, you put all this effort in, you come across a profile and like, you're like, oh man, she sounds really great, let me send this thoughtful message, and he just goes into the abyss and never hear from them again. And like, little do you know, like, they're just inundated with like thousands of emails a day, and it's just not fair to them. And so this is another reason why it sucks. But for females, I like to think that I'm a pretty decent guy, and I usually am pretty respectful, not like during the first contact, not only that, but also like during the continued conversation. Like, basically, I have had more than one person, female, tell me that this is how the typical conversation goes. Like, you swipe on Tinder and you match, like, oh fuck yeah, this is great, and then like they're like, hey, and you're like, ugh, hey, how's it going? Like, and then like the next word out of their mouth is like, they don't even say anything, just send a picture of their dick. Like, really? I mean, so picture this. Like, picture you're in a bar. Like, let's say that we're not on the online world and you're in a bar, and like, you go up to somebody at a bar and you're like, hey, and they're like, hey, how's it going? Do you just whip your dick out right there and just show them your dick? Do you really do that? Why would you think that anybody wants to see that? Initially, nobody wants to see that. So stop it, guys. Stop it. Like, if you don't like somebody, I mean, okay. Like, if you don't like somebody, you're like, hey, here's a picture of my dick, and then you never talk to them again. That's not what's going on here. Like, you think it's cool. Like, you think it's hot. Like, they are not impressed. Like, I promise you, from everything they've told me, they are not impressed. So stop it. Another thing in female profiles, like, so there's basically two kinds of females. There is the never been married but totally psychotic female. They like to brag about one of those things. I'm not going to tell you which one they like to brag about. And then there's like the other one. It's like, haha, like I'm a mom of 7 kids. Like, how many fucking kids do you have? Why would anybody want to jump into that? Like, maybe they've got kids of their own. Like, maybe they have like 3 kids of their own. That's 10 fucking kids. Nobody wants that. No one's going to touch you. Stop it. Like, cut your losses, wait until like some of those kids leave the nest, and then maybe get yourself back out there. But otherwise, just, you know, you gotta stop that shit. Along those same lines, like I've run into people that are like, I don't have any kids, but I'm a fur baby mama. No, you're a pet owner. You're a pet owner. You are not a mother to the dog or the cat. Like, that's not a thing. You are a pet owner, and you probably love your pets. Maybe you love them as much as you would love a child. I don't think you would, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. You're not the mother of the fucking animals, okay? All right, Karen, you're not their mother. Stop it. Like, that's a deal breaker for so many people. That's a deal breaker for me. Like, don't call yourself a fur baby mama. Fuck you. Like, you're not. That's not it. Okay. Let's see what I got here. So maybe we'll share a couple dating stories with you. Let's just share one. I think the most recent one was no, that's not a lie. That's a lie. That's not the most recent one. But the most memorable one in recent memory is this girl I was talking to. Initially, she seemed pretty cool, and she asked me where I work, and when I told her I worked at Garmin, she got really, really excited, and I couldn't figure out. She's like, "You're never gonna believe this." I'm like, "Oh God, here it comes. Here comes the crazy." And so she goes on and on about her passion, and her raison d'être. I don't know how the fuck you say it, but like her reason to be. Was to prevent little kids from, you know, being locked in hot cars. And like, I get that. I feel that so much. That's a tragedy. But like, she was just a little bit too weird about it. And like, so she kept telling me she had this idea about how to prevent this. And it had to do with GPS. And like, she got like all fucking crazy when she found out that I worked for Garmin. Like we're actually going to, you know, take her idea and, you know, run with it, which I just wait. And so I had a lot of reservations about this, but I mean, the well's been dry for a really, really long time. And so I'm like, you know what? Maybe she's not as nuts as she sounds like. If you're ever thinking that, just don't. I mean, she is. She really is. But we went out, and so we had we had gone out for some wine, and I love going out for wine. Like, who doesn't? And so we went out for wine, and we're having like a pretty good conversation. I mean, as good as it can be. Like, no, it wasn't really all that great conversation. But I mean, I was getting pretty drunk, and I was pretty good with that. She was pretty good with that, and so we start talking, and I asked her to start telling me about this idea. And like, before she even gets to the idea, she goes one of these like boom, and like goes to grab her wine and just knocks the fucking entire glass over. I'm wearing a white shirt. Red wine, white shirt, like all over my shirt. It's stained. I mean, like, there's the point where you're like, oh my God, like I got a little red wine stain, I'm gonna try and cover it up. No, like this was beyond the point of that. Like at this point, when it was time to leave, there was no other option than to just stand up and own the fact that like a quarter of a bottle of wine would just spill all over my white shirt. And so, you know, we're walking around, we're walking off the drinks, and we're chit chatting for you know, half hour or so. And she starts telling me about this idea, and I'm like, okay, so I need to hear this like this $1 million idea that you're like want to pitch to Garmin. And she starts telling me about this fucking idea. Like, it really seems like a 3-year-old came up with it, and she thought it was wonderful, and she's just going to, you know, make money off it somehow. And so I'm like, all right, well, tell me the idea. She's like, okay, picture this. you're in your car. I'm like, okay, we're in the car. She's like, you park and your child's in the back seat. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna grab the child. She's like, no, you're gonna forget the child. I'm like, well, I'm not actually. And she's like, just pretend. I'm like, okay. I'm like, oops, I'm an idiot. I forgot my child. And she's like, you start walking towards the store. I'm like, okay. And so I actually turn around and start walking. And she's like, Bzz. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? She's like, your phone just sent you a text message because you were 10 feet away from the car. And that's going to be the protection mechanism that saves the child from the hot car. I'm not joking. This was the idea. This was the idea. I really tried not to entertain this idea. I said, it sounds pretty good. Maybe you should look into that, and maybe you should just keep it for yourself and not waste my company's time with bringing that awful, terrible idea to them. And so I don't really know what happened to her after that, because I sobered up pretty much on the spot. I couldn't really deal with any more of that. And so I took her home, and I looked at my wine-stained shirt, and really, at that point, I basically went back through my entire life and tried to figure out what I had done to deserve all of the things that just happened that night. And I couldn't come up with anything. And that was when I went back to therapy. Okay, so we are going to finish off with a little bit of word association. Maybe a little bit of elaboration, but mostly word association. I'm going to run through the dating apps and basically give you a word association and maybe a short description of each. So these are all dating apps that I have tried, and I would recommend that you don't actually try any of them. So we're going to start with number one. Number one, Tinder. Basically, whoring. This is where whores go, male and female. This is not a sexist thing. Male and female whores go to Tinder, and it shows. It is the place where people not looking for a hookup go to hook up. And then there's Bumble. So Bumble is basically, how I like to refer to it is it's Tinder with morals. It's kind of like one of the strip clubs that, like, they have one side that's like only topless, and then the other side is like, completely bottomless, but you can't actually drink alcohol in there. So that, like, the right side, the bottomless side, that's Tinder, and then the side that's just topless, that's Bumble. But really, they're both pretty much the same thing. Then there's an app called Zoosk. Zoosk is pretty much like newspaper classifieds. Like, you find some decent people in there, but most of them it's kind of just luck, and most of them are just either not really into the whole dating thing, or they just don't have time for it. But not a bad app. I think I had the most success with somewhat meaningful relationships in that app. Not bad. Kind of bad, but not bad. So then there's OkCupid and Match.com. I kind of lump these two together. OkCupid and Match.com. Basically, all this is a fight between the two of them to try and beat each other, and both sucking at dating apps completely. And so they, like, whenever one gets a feature, the other one gets a feature, and they do it poorly. And then the other one's like, oh, well, you did that feature poorly, I'm gonna fuck it up even more. And so here. And so this is just constant battle, and it's annoying, and the people are just, I think the people in general, anytime you have a free app, it's just really weird. You get a lot of weird people, and so stay away from the free ones, but don't spend a whole lot of money on that. Which brings me to one of the the most famous and probably I think the worst one out there is eHarmony. So like if you want to pay a fortune for dating apps, and basically what eHarmony is basically you are paying for the privilege of a personality test and finding absolutely no one that matches your personality. That is pretty much eHarmony in a nutshell. If you have like a good amount of money to blow and not get any results, I suggest you do eHarmony. It's very good for that. And then the last one is, so recently, I think within the last year or so, Facebook had come up with, this dating module in Facebook. And dumpster fire. That's all I have for that is dumpster fire. It's basically Craigslist. It's basically Craigslist. Like there's no second part to that. It's basically Craigslist. Like you find some pretty awful people in there. Maybe there's a few diamonds in the rough, but I think in general, expect Craigslist, and that's what you'll get, and you won't be disappointed. I'm gonna finish off with a little story about Facebook, and then we're going to close with just some general advice and general thoughts. To give you an idea of how much of a dumpster fire not only Facebook but online dating in general is, I want you to look at this picture and then look at the message I sent this person, and you can gain a lot from this whole exchange, this whole screenshot, this whole picture of my summation of the dating scene in general. Just take a look at this. That was the best foot forward of some of these people. So first, Snapchat filters, just don't put them on your fucking dating profile. Please stop doing that. Please. And why the mask? Like, why? If you're gonna put a filter, at least put like something cute, like the dog ears or the bunny ears or some shit like that, and like a little tongue. I mean, like, but not that. I mean, this is what you kind of, and so this is kind of the thought process that goes through your mind. You're swiping and you're messaging, and then you come across that, and then you're like, what kind of person does this? Like, what kind of people are on this site? And then it hits you. That you are also one of these people. And then you really start to second guess every single decision you've ever made in your life that would bring you to this point. And that's a really awful thing. And so with that, I don't know that I have a whole lot more to say other than dating is terrible. Final Fantasy VII is pretty badass, and if you're gonna watch a movie, make sure it's not The Last Jedi, and it's either K-Pax, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, or The Princess Bride. Okay, that's it. We'll see you guys next time.